Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to video number 308. You have happened upon the last video in a unit on the 3 big diseases of estrogen deficiency. If you don't already know, this YouTube channel is akin to school. So if this is your first video that you're watching on my channel, it's gonna be like starting school on the last day of the school year. In the last 27 videos, I have compared, contrasted, and presented everything pertaining to the 3 diseases of estrogen deficiency as a group. And it has forced you to look at these 3 diseases, heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's, every which way. And today I want to point out some distinctions that are very important. These are the things that can get lost in the minutia. They are things that you might not realize in the context of each individual video. So now that you have the big picture, let me just shed some light on some of the nuances. You are not going to find this in my book, regardless of whether you have the first edition or the second edition. This is a bonus video, and that's precisely why you should watch it. It could make the difference between success and failure in managing your menopause. So I'm just going to go through these various distinctions one by one, and they're not related to one another or anything like that. They're just things that I thought I needed to bring to your attention. Okay, the first distinction is one that goes way back to when I first taught you about the estrogen window of opportunity in videos 80 through 90. You learned that you can prevent the diseases of estrogen deficiency by starting estrogen replacement early enough in your postmenopause to bridge the gap between losing your own estrogen and taking estrogen replacement. But one of the critical requirements for doing so was that you have to take at least a designated minimal dosage in order to prevent those diseases. Well, the distinction I want to make addresses the following question. What if you don't take at least that minimal necessary dosage of estrogen? With so many practitioners following the goofy mantra, take the lowest dosage for the shortest time, there are many women who take a minuscule dosage of estrogen replacement that is not adequate for preventing any of these diseases. And the distinction is that while a lower than adequate dosage for preventing diseases does not prevent the diseases, it does keep the estrogen window open. Remember, the estrogen window pertains to how long your body has been without estrogen. And if you're taking a suboptimal minuscule dosage of estrogen, your body is not completely without estrogen. It's just not supplied with enough estrogen. And while that smidgen of estrogen is not enough to prevent the diseases, it is enough to maintain estrogen replacement as an option or to increase your dosage of estrogen if you want to. Another facet of this is the situation in which a woman has taken estrogen replacement intermittently. If that's your case, you probably haven't done a very good job of preventing the diseases of estrogen deficiency, but you might have kept your estrogen window open a little longer or deferred its closure. See, I encounter these situations all the time with women during consultations. They will assume that their estrogen window is closed merely because they have been on suboptimal dosages of estrogen. And when I explain that this is not the case, they're just delighted. So do not assume that your window is closed just because your estrogen dosage is low. And notice that I have used the term estrogen replacement rather than hormone replacement. And that's because estrogen is all that matters for these 3 diseases. Progesterone offers no benefit whatsoever. The second distinction I want to make pertains to the benefit versus the risk of starting estrogen replacement. Women feel confused because they have heard conflicting information about the benefits and risks of estrogen replacement. And this pertains specifically to heart attack. Some sources indicate that estrogen replacement prevents a heart attack. Others indicate that it can cause a heart attack. Well, The distinction is that the issue of whether estrogen prevents heart attacks or causes heart attacks is all about timing. If you start estrogen replacement early in your postmenopause, before you have plaque buildup in your heart arteries, it prevents a heart attack. But if you wait and start estrogen replacement late in your postmenopause and you already have a lot of plaque buildup in your heart arteries, it can cause a heart attack. It's all about the timing. And an aside to this second distinction is the third distinction. The third distinction is that this shift from estrogen replacement being beneficial to it being detrimental is only true for your heart. There is never any detriment to your bones or brain. For them, estrogen is always beneficial. So don't extrapolate this principle of timing to your bones or brain. The fourth distinction is one between intervention and fixin'. You've seen that all the management options for all three diseases belong in lanes that I designate as prevention, intervention, and fixin'. Prevention is when you do not have any inkling of the disease. It's when your heart arteries, bone density, and brain size are all normal. So all you have to do with prevention is keep things normal. Intervention is when you have early stages of the disease. It's when you already have some plaque buildup in your heart arteries, but you haven't had a heart attack. Or you have osteopenia, but not osteoporosis. Or you have early dementia, but not Alzheimer's. This is when you need to stop the disease process in its tracks. The goal is to prevent further progression of the disease. The goal is not to reverse the disease or treat it or cure it. Intervention is merely about preventing a worse situation. Fixin' is when your disease is so advanced that you have to do something more than just stop the disease process. You have to reverse it. It involves treatment or cures to improve the situation. The best example of this is the difference between estrogen and bone-building medications for osteopenia or osteoporosis. Let's say you have osteopenia and you're on the doorstep of osteoporosis with a T-score of negative 2.4. If you take an adequate dosage of estrogen, it will serve merely to stop your bone loss. It will keep you at a T-score of negative 2.4. It will not replace your lost bone. But if you take a bone-building medication, it will reverse your bone loss. It will replace lost bone and improve your T-score so you would climb up the T-score scale towards 0. So the distinction is that intervention arrests the disease process, whereas fixin' reverses the disease process. And finally, the fifth distinction pertains to fixin' also, but it focuses on the management categories. The distinction is that the only category of options that can actually fix anything is the non-hormonal medications. All the other categories of options fall into the lanes of prevention or intervention. So diet, lifestyle, exercise, vitamins, minerals, supplements, and herbs are almost exclusively relegated to the lane of prevention. Estrogen belongs in the lanes of both prevention and intervention, and the only options that are designed for fixin' are the non-hormonal medications. So here's a list of these distinctions. 1. While a lower than adequate dosage for preventing diseases does not prevent the diseases, it does keep the estrogen window open. 2. Early start estrogen replacement can prevent a heart attack. Late start estrogen replacement can cause a heart attack. 3. Your heart is the only one of the 3 body parts that has a shift in the beneficial effects of estrogen to the detrimental effects of estrogen. 4. Intervention is for arresting disease. Fixin is for reversing disease. 5. Non-hormonal medications are the only category suited for fixin disease. Now see, this video is short and sweet. All I wanted to do is highlight these 5 distinctions that are critical to your successful menopause management. The next unit will be our cancer unit, and it will address cancers in general. And it's going to form the foundation for the individual units on different types of cancer that follow it. Isn't learning fun? I just love sharing all this knowledge with you. So go tell all your friends about this education you're getting. Get them to subscribe. Tell them to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also tell them to schedule a consultation with me at menopausetailor.me, and be sure you do the same. See you in a week. Bye.